The sun doesn't rise. It burns. You squint against it as the dust kicks up behind your van, grinding like sandpaper against the windshield. You're 2 miles from the Lukeville border crossing Arizona side, and the AC gave out an hour ago, but you keep driving. This van, held together with duct tape and grace, carries something more fragile than its battered frame. You. Your discharge papers are folded neatly in the glove box, not because you need them for this crossing. No, it's just habit. Like your dog tags, tucked into your boot, like the way you still check every rearview mirror before slowing down. You tell yourself it's just precaution, not fear. You reach the checkpoint. A young border agent motions for you to stop. He approaches with textbook posture, mirrored sunglasses hiding any flicker of human curiosity. His hand rests casually on his belt, just above the pepper spray. You kill the engine. He asks where you're coming from. You answer in English, but your Spanish accent slides in like a traitor. His posture stiffens. He eyes the van, your skin tone, the plates from Sonoita. Not the veteran parking pass on the dashboard, not the Purple Heart sticker half peeled off in the Arizona sun. Citizenship? You slide your ID and VA card toward him. His brow furrows, then lifts in surprise. He glances back at his partner. You're a vet? He doesn't say it like a question. He says it like a dare. You nod. He hands the ID back. Welcome home, he mutters, but not like he means it. More like he's reading from a sign taped inside his brain. He waves you on, but not before the second agent chuckles under his breath and says, I didn't know they were letting everyone in now. You drive, slowly, because if you go too fast, the tears might fall, and you've got too much pride for that today. The truth is, this border crossing is nothing compared to the one inside you. The war is over, but you're still moving through a no-man's land between identities. You served in uniform, 10 years, deployed twice, carried ammo, stitched wounds, made it through convoy attacks. But now? Now you're back in the country you fought for, and somehow you're still being asked to prove you belong. There's a memory you can't shake. It was your final week in Kandahar. A joke floated around the chow hall. One of the mechanics said, she's brown enough to blend in and trained enough to kill them. Everyone laughed, even you. Because what else could you do? Tell them it hurt? That's the thing no one teaches you. The uniform doesn't erase where you came from. It just makes people more surprised when they see you in it. You pass the border and take a back road north. The route's changed since you left. More gas stations, fewer saguaros. Your phone buzzes with a news alert from Military Times. VA Secretary says outreach to female veterans still lagging. You snort. No surprise there. On your right, a billboard reads, Support our troops. Underneath, in smaller letters, Saturdays 10% off for veterans with ID. You park in a rundown lot behind a diner in Ajo. It's mid-afternoon, but the place is half empty. You walk in, dog tags swinging slightly under your t-shirt. The waitress eyes you. There's a flicker, recognition maybe, but she just says counter's open. You sit, order coffee. As you stir the creamer, you hear someone at the booth behind you. Saw some lady online claiming she's a vet, said she served overseas. Didn't look like it. Laughter. You sip your coffee. Bitter. You remember something from Stars and Stripes, a profile about female veterans struggling at border towns. One woman, Veronica R., was deported 2 years after serving in Iraq, fought for her citizenship and won it back. Still sleeps with one foot on the floor. You wonder if anyone laughed at her too. You pay your bill. Slide back into the van. You don't cry. Not yet. You drive to a place you never thought you'd return, your uncle's home in Tucson. He opens the door, surprised to see you. Hugs you tighter than you expected. His garage has been cleared out, a cot in the corner. It's temporary, he says. You nod. You've lived out of worse. As night falls, you sit on the driveway, looking up. You think of your brothers in arms, some gone, some ghosts in your inbox. You think of the ones who welcomed you, and the ones who whispered behind your back. You check your phone again. A message from a former squad mate. Just 2 words. You good? You type, crossed over. Made it safe. You don't hit send. Instead, you close your eyes. Let the silence carry you for a moment. So before you get comfortable, take a moment to like the video and subscribe, but only if you genuinely enjoy what I do here. And hey, drop your location and local time in the comments. Let's see who's listening. You wake to the sound of a dog barking and tires crunching gravel outside the garage door. Tucson mornings come fast. The desert heat wastes no time. You stretch on the narrow cot, still halfway in your dream, a dream where you're back in uniform, loading supply crates under a canvas tent. Only in the dream, your last name isn't mispronounced, and no one calls you sweetheart at the firing range. You brush off the sleep and open the side door. Your uncle left a plate of scrambled eggs and beans on the kitchen counter. No note, just food. It's how your family communicates, acts over words. You eat quickly and grab your duffel. Today you've got an appointment at the VA office downtown. First time checking in stateside since your discharge. The paper said you'd be fast-tracked. Priority Female Veterans Program, it claimed. But you know better than to expect anything smooth. You ride the city bus in, watching streets slide past, El Camino, Alvernon, Craycroft, names that used to mean something when you were in high school. Now they're just waypoints. Civilian territory. At the VA clinic, the air smells of antiseptic and old coffee. You sign in at the kiosk. The machine asks you to confirm your name, your birth date, your service branch, and then, are you the veteran? You press yes. It hesitates, like the software itself doesn't believe you. A nurse walks by. She glances at your form, then at you. Are you here for your husband? You smile. It's easier. No, you say, I'm the veteran. She pauses. Her smile flickers. Oh, good for you. Good for you. Like you ran a marathon or learned how to bake sourdough. You sit in the waiting room. Around you, older men trade stories about Korea, about Panama. One man says, back in my day, we didn't let them in the field. His buddy laughs. Now they get medals for tweeting. You wonder if they're talking about someone like you, or if they're just talking to hear themselves forget. Your name gets called. The nurse doesn't stumble over it, which surprises you. In the exam room, the doctor reviews your file. His eyes widen slightly. 10 years active, 2 deployments. EOD certification? You know he whistles. That's rare. Not really, you say. Just not talked about. He taps away at the keyboard. Says here you had a spinal injury on your last mission. What happened? You hesitate. You've told this story only twice. The field report and then your mom through tears in a shaky video call from the hospital bed. IED, you say. We were clearing a convoy path. I stepped on shrapnel. Nothing detonated, but the impact took me down. Crushed vertebrae. 2 surgeries later, I was honorably discharged. The doctor types it in. No follow-up. No comment. Later at the front desk, the receptionist hands you a packet. Sign these to initiate benefits, and thank you for your service. It's automatic, like saying bless you after a sneeze. You smile anyway. Outside, you lean against the concrete wall, packet in hand. The sun beats down. You remember the time in Helmand Province when you shared a packet of MRE peanut butter with a fellow tech named Harris. He was new, called you ma'am until you made him stop. You haven't seen him since the firefight in Sangin. You tried to message him once, but the email bounced. You head to a nearby park, packet stuffed in your backpack. Kids are running through the sprinkler system. You sit on a bench and scroll your phone. A new headline pops up from Federal News Network. Female veteran participation in VA programs remains under 20%, despite record enlistments. You sigh. Same old song. You open the VA app, try to schedule your next appointment. It crashes twice. As you sit there, a young woman approaches with a stroller. She smiles. Sorry, are you here for the veteran support group? You blink. No, I'm just here. She nods, eyes flickering toward the dog tags that swing into view as you adjust your backpack. My sister's in the Marines, she says. She says no one believes her either. I get it. You nod. Maybe she does. Later that evening, you sit with your uncle, flipping through a box of old photos. One shows you in full battle rattle, grinning beside 2 male squad mates, your arm slung over a 50 cal mount like it's a guitar. Your uncle shakes his head. You always scared your abuela with that uniform. She thought girls weren't supposed to do those things. She wasn't wrong, you say. He chuckles. But you did. You put the photo down. That night you scroll through social media, lurking on veteran forums. One thread catches your eye. Do female vets deserve the same respect? It's a war zone of comments. One user says, of course, service is service. Another replies, too many fake stories, especially from border jumpers. You close the app. Some nights you wish your uniform still had power, not to intimidate, but to explain. To say, yes, I earned this. No, I'm not a mascot. No, I don't want a parade, just space. You fall asleep to the hum of an old ceiling fan, dog tags clinking softly on the nightstand. The desert wind rattles the garage door, but it doesn't wake you. In your dream, you're walking through a checkpoint again. Only this time, no one asks who you are. The first thing you notice when you enter the VA mental health center isn't the staff or the smell of sterile tiles. It's the laughter. Sharp, careless, male. You pause in the hallway, hands tucked into your hoodie pockets. Ahead, the waiting room opens into a row of plastic chairs, outdated magazines, and a vending machine that hums like it's remembering something. 4 men sit near the window. One of them, a broad-shouldered guy in a Harley vest, snorts as he scrolls through his phone. She said she was infantry. Can you believe that? I mean, what'd she carry? A clipboard? The other guys laugh. One even slaps his thigh. You don't say anything. Just move past them. You're used to being invisible. Inside, the receptionist doesn't look up right away. When she does, her smile freezes. Are you here to see your husband? No, you say, keeping your voice calm. I'm the appointment. A pause. Oh, of course. Just take a seat. Someone will be right with you. You sit. 10 minutes later, a counselor appears at the door. He's young, polished, carrying a clipboard and a cautious smile. Sergeant Esquivel? You stand. He blinks. You nod. Me. As he leads you into his office, you catch the tail end of a comment from one of the men behind you. Guess they're letting everyone claim PTSD now. This time, you don't let it slide. You turn, look him dead in the eye and say, I didn't claim it. I lived it. The room goes silent. The counselor clears his throat and gestures you into his office. Inside, you sit down and start talking. Slowly, then faster. Like a faucet finally turned on. You tell him about the mortar shell near Cullup that left you with tinnitus. About the medic you held pressure on for 23 minutes until the evac came. About the convoy that never reached its checkpoint and the 2 letters you wrote home for your fallen friends. He listens. When you finish, he asks, do you feel seen? You think about it. No, you say, but I feel heard. Today. You leave with a follow-up appointment and a new name in your phone. Not a friend, maybe, but someone on your side. Back outside, you walk to the bus stop. It's hot, asphalt shimmering. A teenage boy with a skateboard sits under the shelter. He looks over, then looks away. You notice he's wearing a tattered ROTC shirt. You thinking of joining? You ask. He nods. Yeah, Army, maybe. You offer a half smile. Good luck. Just make sure they don't forget you. He furrows his brow. What do you mean? You shrug. They remember the loud ones. The rest of us have to fight twice. He doesn't reply, just nods slowly, absorbing it. That night, back in your uncle's garage, you receive a group text from your old squad's Facebook chat. A former teammate, Jenna, someone you haven't spoken to in years, posted a photo. It's from your deployment in Kandahar. You're all sitting on stacked ammo crates, dirty and sunburnt, laughing at something just out of frame. Underneath the photo, Jenna wrote, hard to believe half these people are forgotten. Here's to the quiet ones. Your phone lights up with likes, heart emojis, and a single comment that makes your breath catch. Wait, was that Esquivel? Thought she didn't make it back. You want to reply. Instead, you just save the photo. Later, at your VA group therapy session, it happens again. A new guy joins. He sees you and assumes you're the social worker. It's not cruel, just unconscious. When the actual counselor introduces you as Sergeant Esquivel, EOD specialist, his jaw slackens. You keep your expression neutral. After the session, he approaches you in the parking lot. Hey, sorry about earlier. You shrug. Happens all the time. He hesitates. I just didn't think they let women do that kind of stuff. You stare at him for a long second, then say that's the problem. They did. They just didn't tell anyone. The next morning, you return to the same VA office, this time for a peer support training session. The program is new, aiming to help female vets support each other through shared experience. You sit around a folding table with 4 other women, one from Alabama, one from Guam, one from a reservation in New Mexico, and a former Navy corpsman who wears her scars like armor. You go around sharing stories. Laughter replaces tension. No one questions anyone's service. No one doubts rank or medals or memory. In this room, you exist. During a break, someone reads a military.com piece aloud. Female veterans report highest rates of depression and lowest levels of VA trust. Surprise, surprise, the woman from Guam mutters, we're ghosts with uniforms. You nod. Not anymore. That evening, you're in line at a grocery store. The clerk notices the VA card in your hand. "Your dad serve?" she asks casually. You shake your head. "I did." She blinks. "Oh, cool. I've never met a girl vet before." You want to say you've met them. You just didn't see them. But instead, you just smile. Outside, the sun dips behind the mountains. Your reflection catches in the store window. You're not in uniform. Your hair's grown out. You wear a hoodie, jeans, sneakers. You look like anyone. But inside, you're not just anyone. You survived 2 wars, one overseas, one at home, and you're still here, still crossing lines that never should have been drawn in the first place. You're hammering drywall by 6:30 a.m., the Arizona sun already crawling over the skyline like it's got a grudge against everyone alive. The site manager yells out instructions over the clang of power tools, and you nod, falling into rhythm. Not like the motor pool, but it's got the same noise, the same grime, the same unspoken chain of command. The project is a women's shelter, funded by a patchwork of non-profits and one stubborn city grant. Your cousin heard they needed help and put your name in. You showed up without a resume, without a promise, just calloused hands and a toolbox older than your enlistment. No one asked if you were a veteran, which felt strange, almost like relief. You work beside a woman named Maya who's rebuilding her life after prison. She doesn't ask about your past either. She just hands you the nails when you ask and jokes about how no one knows how to cut sheetrock anymore. At lunch, you sit on a concrete block, wiping sweat from your face with a rag that still smells faintly like engine oil. Maya lights a cigarette and offers you one. You shake your head. "Where'd you learn to swing like that?" She asks. "Army," you say simply. She whistles. "No kidding, you ever get shot at?" You pause. "Yeah." She exhales. "Damn, you win." You both laugh, the kind of laugh that comes from shared exhaustion more than amusement. Later that day, while you're carrying a beam to the second floor, your back twinges. The old injury. You grit your teeth, push through it. No one sees. No one needs to. You finish the day with splinters in your palms and dust in your lungs. But for the first time in a while, you feel useful, needed. And no one questioned your worth. Back home, your uncle's garage feels smaller than usual. You shower with the door half open, old habits dying hard. The water is lukewarm and the drain is slow, but you stand there longer than necessary, washing away the day's weight. Afterward, you check your phone. A voicemail from the VA, just confirming your next appointment. Please arrive 15 minutes early. No apology for the last one, where they double-booked you and then forgot. You delete it. Scrolling through local news, you find a blurb buried beneath a cooking column. Veteran-run construction crew builds safe haven for abused women in South Tucson. No names listed, no photos, just a statistic. Team includes 12 veterans, 5 female. You smile. At least it's something. You decide to record a short video, for yourself more than anyone else. You sit on your cot, propping your phone against an old ammo box you use as a nightstand. You hit record. "This is for the days they said I wasn't enough," you begin. For the recruiters who laughed when I asked to join EOD. For the VA clerk who handed me a brochure for military spouses instead of a benefits form. For the guy at the gym who asked me who I was visiting when I wore my service tee. For the ones who said we didn't belong outside the wire. You pause, looking down at your hands. "I built a house today. Not a shelter, a home. And no one had to check my ID to believe I could." You post it to your personal profile. Then forget about it. 3 days later, your phone explodes with notifications. The video was picked up by a military advocacy page, one run by a Gold Star sibling with over 300,000 followers. They reshared your words with the caption, "The vets you ignore are the ones still rebuilding you." The comments flood in. Some are beautiful. "Thank you for your service, Sergeant Esquivel. You made me cry today. My mom served in Desert Storm. She'd have loved this." Others are harsh. "Stolen valor much. Anyone can buy a shirt and make a TikTok. Typical social justice warrior. Bet she never saw a day of combat." You don't reply. But that night, you dream again, this time of the shelter, of each plank and beam you lifted. In the dream, no one doubts you. They just hand you the next tool, and you keep building. A week later, a girl shows up on site. 17, maybe. Quiet. The volunteer coordinator introduces her as a summer helper. Her name is Anna. She sticks close to you, asks questions, shadows your movements. Finally, she says, I saw your video. My sister's in the Navy. She thinks no one notices. You pause, wiping your brow. Tell her I do. That night, Anna messages you a thank you. It's short, but real. You realize something. You're not building houses. You're building belief. The next VA group meeting, the vibe is different. One of the regulars walks in with a printout of your video's transcript. She lays it down like it's sacred text. Finally, she says, someone said it. You sit down, unsure what to feel. An older woman across from you, a retired nurse from the Gulf War, leans in. You keep talking like that and people might actually start listening. You shrug. Maybe it's time. Outside, the sun is fading behind the hills. A few scattered clouds catch fire with the last rays. You walk home slowly, boots kicking up loose gravel. The world isn't fixed, not yet. But something's different. Someone saw you, and that's a start. Your name isn't trending, but your face is showing up in unexpected places. On a Tuesday morning, you're tagged in a TikTok, one of those split-screen reaction videos. On the left is your original clip, the one about building the shelter. On the right is a teenage girl, maybe 15, watching with her hand over her mouth. Halfway through, her eyes start to water. The caption reads, "My aunt served. Never talked about it. Just sent this to her." You sit on the garage cot, watching it again. Then again. You've spent years being invisible. Now people are staring, listening, arguing. The comment section is a battleground. Real hero energy. Wait, why wasn't she in uniform? This is what stolen valor looks like, lol. Imagine having to prove your service to a bunch of keyboard warriors. The fire spreads. Your inbox swells with messages. Some kind, others venomous. A former squad mate DMs you, "Proud of you, Sarge. Ignore the noise." But it's hard, because the noise is louder than the silence you fought so long to survive. A journalist from a veteran podcast reaches out. She wants to interview you. Just audio, just your voice, nothing fancy. You agree, reluctantly. The interview takes place in your cousin's car, parked outside the VA office. You clutch your phone tight and speak into the mic like it's a confession booth. You tell them about boot camp, about breaking records in the obstacle course and being told you're not like the other girls. You talk about Afghanistan, about stacking sandbags in 115-degree heat, about sending letters to your mom without telling her the full story. Because how do you say, "Today I didn't die," in a way that doesn't break someone? You talk about crossing the border, not as a migrant, but as someone whose story no one expects. A soldier with the wrong accent. A woman with too much proof and still not enough belief. The podcast drops 3 days later. The title reads, "The Ones They Laughed At." And somehow, the fire grows. Clips of your voice spread across YouTube, Reddit, Instagram. Reels where your words are set to dramatic music, your silence between sentences used for effect. Some say you're exploiting trauma. Others call you brave. Veterans still argue in the comments. Loud, public, messy. One response catches your eye. A live stream from a self-styled veteran purist influencer, a man known for calling out so-called fake warriors. You never heard of him before this. He pulls up your TikTok, pauses the frame, zooms in on your badge. This is why I always say, verify everything. Anyone can put on dog tags, slap a filter on and tell a sob story. But where's the DD-214? Where's the deployment log? You feel your stomach turn. He continues. She wants sympathy. She wants clicks. But you notice no combat footage, no unit shoutouts, just poor me. And drywall. His followers eat it up. You don't respond, not yet. Instead, you call the podcast host. She picks up on the second ring. "I want to post my records," you say. "All of it. Full service history. Unredacted." She pauses. "You sure?" "Yes," you say. "I want the receipts." You upload the scans, your certificate of discharge, your commendations, your EOD training record. A photo of your squad in Kandahar, your arm slung over a rifle, dust on your face, heat lines blurring the air behind you. You caption it simply, "Since proof is more believable than pain." The tide shifts. The comments change. Screenshots are shared like shields. "She's real. This one's legit. Apologies in order." Even the purist guy posts a follow-up video. Short, defensive, and not quite an apology. "Okay, so she served. Cool. Doesn't mean she's a hero." You laugh, not because it's funny, but because it's familiar. You think of another headline you saw on NBC News. Female veterans face increasing doubt online despite service records. The article mentioned a spike in misinformation, targeted disbelief and algorithm-fueled toxicity. Your name wasn't in it. but your story was. That week, a local high school reaches out. The student council wants to host a Veterans in Service Day. They saw your video. They want you to speak. You say yes. The auditorium is packed. You stand behind the podium, hands gripping the edge. A teacher gives a long, awkward intro. Then the mic is yours. You don't talk about war. You talk about silence, about how it follows you home, how the things you leave behind are not just places, but parts of you. You talk about being laughed at, not during war, but after. When people assumed you were someone's sister, someone's wife, someone's ride. I served, but more than that, I came back. And coming back is the hardest mission I've ever had. The students are quiet. Then from the back, someone claps. One person, then two, then the whole room. Afterwards, a teacher hands you a thank you card. Inside a note, "Thank you for telling our students what strength really looks like." You walk outside into the sun, blinking. The wind shifts, you hear laughter again, but this time it's not at you. It's beside you. It's with you. You don't need applause to feel seen anymore, but today it follows you home. After the school talk, you receive an invitation, hand-delivered by a staffer from the local VA office. A town hall event is being organised downtown. Veterans' stories, community roundtable, open mic. They want female veterans on stage. They want you. It feels strange, being wanted, not just tolerated. You agree, of course. You tell yourself it's one more chance to speak for the ones still hiding. The ones who don't have TikToks or podcasts or a cousin's garage to land in. You practice in your head while sanding a wall at the shelter job site, while tying rebar, while pressing your back against the cool concrete during lunch breaks, hoping your spine doesn't seize. The night of the town hall, you dress simply. Jeans, black boots, an old soft-shell jacket from your unit days. You leave the dog tags tucked in. Tonight isn't about relics. The room is full by the time you arrive, folding chairs, American flags, iced tea pitchers, sweating on long plastic tables. On stage, a banner reads, "The Faces of Service." There's a man from Desert Storm, a woman who flew medevac in Iraq, a Vietnam vet in a motorized chair. You take your seat near the end of the row. When it's your turn, the room quiets before your name is even called. People know you now, not everyone, but enough. You walk to the podium, inhale slowly and begin. You didn't see me at first, you say. You saw my tan skin and my accent. You saw the border sticker on my van. You saw someone who didn't look like a veteran. A pause. I don't blame you. Visibility's never been part of our uniform. You speak plainly, without flair. No dramatic pauses, no slogans. Just truth, stacked gently like bricks. You talk about crossing the border after your discharge, the smirk on the agent's face. You talk about the waiting rooms and the questions. Are you the wife? Are you the translator? Are you lost? You talk about building homes while hiding pain, about posting a video not for fame, but for freedom. You finish with this. If you've never had to prove your story to be believed, you're lucky. But for the rest of us, telling it is how we survive. There is no laughter this time, just silence. And then a standing ovation, not roaring, but slow, thoughtful, earned. Afterward, people approach you, not with questions, but with gratitude. One woman says, "You spoke for my sister. She served in Korea, never told anyone." A teenager says, "I used to think vets were just dudes in camo. Not anymore." A man in a cap that reads, "Proud uncle of a soldier," simply nods and squeezes your hand. Outside the venue, the air is cooler than you expected. A breeze rolls through the parking lot like a soft sigh. You lean against your cousin's car, arms folded, letting your heartbeat settle. Your phone vibrates. A message. From Harris. "Yeah, I'm the one who thought you didn't make it back. I was wrong. You've always been the real deal. Hope you're well." You smile. Not because you needed his validation, but because closure, however small, is a gift. That weekend, you're asked to speak at another event, then another. People want to hear your story, but you know what they really want is to stop making the mistake of silence. You help organize a resource drive for female veterans in rural areas. You advocate for a new section in the VA intake forms, one that doesn't assume gender by default. You create a directory of Spanish-speaking VA counselors for border towns. You're not changing the whole world, but you're carving out one corner of it where no one will have to answer, "Are you the wife?" ever again. At the shelter, Anna brings you a thank you card, handmade, glitter on the edges. Inside, a drawing of you in construction boots, holding a hammer. Above your head, She's written in thick marker, real-life hero. You frame it and hang it above your cot. That night, while the garage hums around you, you allow yourself the smallest luxury. You don't set an alarm. You don't flinch at the creak of the roof. You fall asleep knowing your name, spoken, doubted, mocked, now lives in places where it can't be erased. You dreamed once that you were walking through a checkpoint and no one asked who you were. Now, you walk through the world and people look up. They nod. They remember. You're not the headline. You're the truth under it. And it turns out that's enough. The streets are quieter now. You walk them differently, shoulders back, head high. The world hasn't changed overnight, but something inside you has shifted. It's not about recognition anymore, or even healing. It's about reclamation. Each time your boots hit the sidewalk, it echoes louder than the doubt ever did. The silence that once followed you like a shadow has become something softer. Reflection, not erasure. You don't carry your discharge papers in your glove box anymore. You don't need to prove what you lived. You are what you lived. Some nights you still dream of the war, of checkpoints and convoys and static crackling through a battered comms line. But more often now, you dream of the girl from TikTok, of Anna and her glitter card, of the teacher who whispered thank you, like it meant everything. You don't need their applause to sleep, but it doesn't hurt. Tomorrow, there'll be new walls to build, new hands to hold, new stories to listen for, the quiet ones, the almost forgotten, the ones still hiding behind smiles and hesitations, and when you hear them, you'll know what to say. You'll tell them, you're not alone. They laughed at me too, but I kept walking. And just like that, you'll give them something more powerful than proof. You'll give them permission to stay.